Hello and welcome back. I'm Joe and this is Workers and Resources Soviet Republic on the public test branch version 0.8.5. Yes, that is out. A lot of new features, a lot of new things that should be talked about. So stick around if you want to see them. To be clear, all of what you see right now is on the public test branch, which means you can opt in to play that. You can change that on your Steam settings, and there's a lot of guides on how to do that. So go ahead and do that if you really feel like it. This is a beta branch, so there may be some unexpected crashes, but hopefully not. So let's see how this goes. Let's jump right into it. First, here are the features. One of the big features, the UI. The UI is completely overhauled. Everything up here looks very different than what it was before, and I think that is great. You will get a lot more information and statistics for right now what's going on without having to go to the stats screens. I think that's awesome. You get this little bar over here right now that kind of... It's not the month. It is supposed to be the sun, how the sun moves and then how the night moves. But it also kind of feels like day and kind of feels like, I mean, sun and day is the same thing, but don't pay too much attention to these little ones. There's some talk to make it a little more obvious what it's supposed to represent. So that's probably going to change. Then over here, you see our normal seasons information for wind and sun and temperature and all that good stuff. Down here is your shortcut bar. Nothing changed here really. It's just there and a little different. That looks pretty cool. Over here is one of the big gems of this new update, I think, for me, maybe my personal favorite. And let me know what you guys think about all the other features that we're going to talk about. What do you think is best, worst, and so on. But over here, you see your total population. This is the same as this number, actual population. But you see a breakdown of what you have without having to go to the overview menu. That is pretty cool if you ask me. So just nothing too exciting. Well, a lot of exciting things here, but everything is self-explanatory. So this is great. Right next to it, you have your unemployed workers column. Same thing again. You have on the left, you see 56 unemployed workers, and on the right, when I say left, I mean over here, and on the right, you see the same thing, but you see the breakdown also by reasons. Why are they unemployed? What can you do? So if you look at this screen, it's really easy for you to figure out what you need to do, where, why, when. I think that is awesome. Then you have your general health. How satisfied are they? All the really important things. I'm not sure why alcohol addiction is in here, but it is. So there you go. As long as this is relatively high, they should be good. I guess alcohol contributes to your health. So cool. Now you know that. And then over here is a number that I find very important in my playthroughs. I always look for this number to be above 90% or more, because if it's less than that, you're probably running into issues with people escaping, people running away, dying. Generally, your health is also low and other things as well. This number is maybe my most important metric measuring how well a republic is doing, and that's what I look for. So it's up here right now, easy to see on top of the screen. So I think this right here is great information for my republic. Over here, this is really good for the starting piece, but this is great. Then also, messages moved up here. There's nothing really new in these. The window's just open on this side now. There's this little pin. Honestly, I never use these in most games, so it's there. It may be new, it may be old, I don't remember. But that is there. Then what was here before was the little overview button that just moved to the left now, show overlays. Nothing here really changed, so it works exactly as before. Everything on the left is really the menus that you're used to. Normal settings, your resources, your stats, your population statistics, economy and trade. This all looks still the same. I have money turned off, so you can't take out loans right now. The vehicles and buildings and all that. Lists, construction assigned. This one was over here at some point. Now just moved into the left. I think that's neat. Here's your mod selection. There's something new here up here. Display in bottom menu. That is new. None, favorites only, and everything. I will talk about that in just a second. Then scripts. This one I'm really excited about, because this means we can actually have scenarios and just a lot of things to do that you may not be able to do right now. One thing that they talked about in the new roadmap is cosmonaut mode as part of the vanilla game. That sounds exciting. You need scripts for that. and just other levels, unlocking things. Like there's a lot of possibilities that I can think of already. And I think the modders will have a heyday with this, and I am pretty excited about that. But yes, that's all what's going on. Pretty neat. And then your time lapse, this will still here. Sometimes I'll use this for my videos, but not a lot. Q&A, FAQs, whatever you want to call this is right here. Yep, makes sense. That's all pretty neat, and things work. So cool, good job. Down here, I did make my UI scale 150% instead of 130, so you guys can actually see some of the icons. You can make these as big or as small as you want, but it is now separated or split out into different categories and color-coded. So transportation is gray, like gravel road, maybe. Cargo and storage is orange, because why not? Energy is red, that makes sense. For citizens is green, okay, that's a color. And then industry is yellow. That's fine. You just look at this and you're like, oh yeah, I see it. That looks like something. Nice. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But the cool thing is, any of these will open sub-menus of everything that is related to what you just clicked on. So I clicked on roads. There's a road signal here, roads and vehicles. Right next to it is trains. Should also say trains and vehicles, and so on. So over here, you have your overview of everything that you can make happen there. And this may change a little bit. If you see something that's funky, just make sure you put it in a bug report and let them know that you don't think it should be there. But right to the left, yes, that's English. You see the roads, and roads, just nothing new here yet, but this little icon, when you click on it, you can actually start building it. And this icon retains whatever you clicked on last. So I just said asphalt road, let's turn it to mud road, still mud road, even when you come back to it. Pretty cool. So if you have things that you click a lot, or that you select a lot, you can save yourself at least one click doing this, just having your favorites. And that's true for all of these. Pretty self-explanatory, really. Here, we have the first one that works with mods, a depot. You have the vanilla depots right here, but then these big green arrows tell you these are mods. They're also here, and that is related to these buttons. As you can see right now, once you hover over it, as you can see right now, everything is visible. But if I tell my mod collection to not show any, then nothing is visible. And then you can say favorites only, and if I had a vehicle depot, where is one? D, can't find one right now. It's fine, I don't use them a lot. But favorites are only shown, well, if you have favorites on, only favorites are shown. So that's a pretty cool extra, that you don't have to go to your mods all the time. You can just favorite whatever you always use and then go to whatever category those fit in. I think that's pretty cool. That is true for pretty much everything. Here's one. Here's a favorite. Apparently this is a station that I use a lot. Pretty nice, I think. Bus platforms are just there. Up here, you can see the normal menu, really. It's just these are the F buttons, or the different wireframes and all that stuff, and the snapping. You can still turn them on and off with your F keys. That's pretty normal and basic. Over here is a little different. You can now only select one, so these are really radio buttons, not checkboxes. But if you always want to build with robots, cool. If you want to build from resources, cool. You have these select buttons that were there before, where you could just assign them and unassign them. That is all pretty basic. And then when you actually build something and you have plan mode is what I needed. You have this window becomes a little bigger. If that is in your way, you can always just hide it and then select things later. I think this may be a subject to change. I complained about that already, but I'll leave it up to you. Maybe it's fine. For me, it's a little too big in the way when I want to do things. Cool. I'm using my quick keys up here to get to my bulldozer, if you were wondering. So that's pretty neat. What else is going on? A couple more things. We have residentials, or some building groups are actually split up into small, medium, large, or whatever is an appropriate size. So that's pretty nice. And they're still, again, selected like they were before. Something else that's happening, which I wasn't aware of, is you have different buildings that can give you culture. Cinema is one of them, with all the mods and everything else that goes in there. But then there are also buildings that are really part of the tourism pack. I call it that. I've tried this. It doesn't always work. It's not 100% right yet, but it does give you culture, but they don't always go there. It's a little weird, so for right now, I recommend just sticking with the cinema or similar things. Obviously, sport over here. The indoor pool we know is something that always works. I use that quite a lot. So knock yourself out. And yeah, we have all of this. Pretty good. The beach actually gives you sport. That's new. Cool. Learn something. And again, you can go for everything here and it will give you really the same thing. It's just separated a little different. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but nothing wrong with this. I think this is a step in the right direction, so that's great. What else can we talk about? Well. If you have followed any of the reports, you know that loyalty is now implemented. And when you start with loyalty, your buildings will not tell you what the loyalty is on average for all the people in there. If you look over here, people statistics, for some reason, this loyalty bar is there. It shouldn't be there all the time, but it is. I consider it a bug. I hope that gets fixed at some point. I know that was brought up before. But you see the loyalty here. It's implemented. And if you actually hover over it, it will tell you secret police needs to visit citizens' home to display his government loyalty level. Great. Why do we care about loyalty? Well, loyalty is having a few impacts on different things in the life of your Soviet comrades. 1. Some workplaces, you can select only the really loyal people to work there. Why would you do that? Well, on one hand, loyalty, high loyalty, is supposed to increase your work output, which I don't know what that translates to mathematically, but it's supposed to help you. So higher loyalty is better work ethic, maybe more something. I really don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure someone will figure that out once this is fully implemented. Also, if you only have really loyal people working in a place, then everyone, like students, that gets educated by them also automatically increases their loyalty. And that can be important if you care about different things, like loyalty. I think it's a neat mechanic. I'm sure it's going to be not overhauled, but changed over time a little bit. That's pretty neat. The other thing we have is secret police. And there's just one of the cars moving around. So after a while, your loyalty is not known anymore. And even in the beginning, when you build your first buildings, you don't know the loyalty. The only way to get that is to send your cars out from the secret police. And the secret police needs your secret agents, which have to be highly educated. So when they get out, and you can, as you can see, there's a range for how far they can get, but also you need more cars to cover more buildings because there's only a certain time frame that you know the loyalty. Why should you do that? Because if you do choose to play with the loyalty settings, it doesn't matter unless you actually have uncovered the loyalty of the people living in all of those buildings. If you don't know the loyalty, everyone's treated equal. Doesn't matter what you set this to. You could set this to 100% and everyone could work here if you don't have a secret police. So keep that in mind when you play with that. Another new building is the orphanage. An orphanage, yeah, why do we need this? So up until this release, whenever parents died or left the country, they took their children with them all the time, every time. There could be a fire somewhere or just hunger or just some other things that weren't right. And children would leave too, which means your republic didn't grow as fast as it possibly could because you sort of kind of always had to ignore the children. Now with the orphanage, that's no longer a thing. You can take in children and they will grow up like normal people just without parents because they're orphans. And then they become part of your republic. Now, again, you can set your government loyalty in here, and if you have really high loyalty, you gain more productivity and other things. But again, the people that work here, if they have high loyalty, then the children will also gain more loyalty in the process. It's pretty neat. And don't forget, if your loyalty is too low, people will escape. If your loyalty is really high, you get more output. If your loyalty is just on average, it's probably going to be exactly like you play today with the current release version. But I think it will be a good idea to keep your loyalty high enough so everyone is happy enough. But I think we should try that out, and someone should let me know how much loyalty actually impacts your game. I think it's a cool new addition that we should definitely check out. So how do you gain loyalty? A couple ways, and if you read the reports, you know that. One is monuments. We can go there. On the monuments themselves, if you hover over them on the bottom there, it says government loyalty influence plus 5.2% for a radius of 415 meters. The radius is not shown yet, maybe they changed that, but it just means if this is close enough to people, you gain 5 point some percent of loyalty. Monuments can only increase loyalty up to 50%. I have not played with the numbers. I don't know if that means you have to place 10 of these around a building or if there are other ways to do that. But that is one way to increase your loyalty. Other ways to increase loyalty are radio stations or TV stations, other monuments, and giving cars to people. That also increases loyalty. And you could also already specify who can use a car and who can't. However, just placing a radio station or a TV station is not necessarily enough. You actually have to give electronics to your citizens, because if they don't have radios, they cannot listen to anything. So your radio station wouldn't have an effect. So that is an increased expense at the beginning that you have to consider if you play certain playstyles. Same is true for television. So just make sure that your citizens have what they need to listen to what you broadcast, and then they can actually have an impact. Cool. What else is going on? Some of the buildings got new within building parking lot driving, so more vehicles can move at the same time. It's neat. I think that works. But you have to rebuild them. The old vanilla versions do not have that mechanics, only the new ones, so keep that in mind. So I almost forgot one pretty cool feature that may be the favorite for some of you. Mirroring. How does it work? Well, any building, vanilla building right now only, none of the other buildings, go in and press T. Flip, or mirrored. It's just a mirror. It's pretty neat, and then you can just rotate the way you want them anyways, and you should be able to build a lot nicer, cooler industrial areas now with this feature. Another thing, just a small one, instead of Control G to turn off your interface, the interface still turns off, but everything else also turns off, so that is not as helpful anymore. What you have to do now is simply press Control, and you will hide your nasty little messages there that will tell you a hint about something that you already know. There have been a lot of other fixes that are worth talking about, but you can just read the reports or read the release notes and you will see all of them. There are a couple more things that I want to point out. One, 21-year-olds will now move throughout the Republic, not just in walking distance of the current apartment that they're in. Awesome. Two, on that note, your buildings now have new flags, and you have these flags at the beginning when you construct them, or right now, where you can say people can actually move here. If you don't want people to move there, you just say no. If you don't want certain people to move in here, you just say no. And then this way you could, for example, just create a university city by just effectively creating dorms out of these buildings, so they can all get educated. Once they're educated, they can leave. It's pretty nice. Now, dorms have the automatic. Once you're done studying, you leave. These buildings do not have that, so keep that in mind. But you can do that on the building level, but also on the city level. This is the city that I have, and that has the same thing. So now you can create a city completely worry-free of people moving in there because it's not ready for heat, electricity, food, whatever else. You don't have to worry about things anymore that people just move there and you lose them because they're not going to stay there. You can actually just say, nope, don't. And it's pretty neat. Another thing that they changed, which I just want to point out, when you build buildings now, up to this point, you could not change this Get Citizen checkbox. Now, you can just do it whatever you want. And again, this building is still here. So this is a pretty neat change that you can actually influence what comes in here, who comes in here, and what. It just means you can plan all your cities right away, a lot fuller than you were able to right now. I think that's great. Another thing, tourism profit was decreased by 60 to 70%. From what I heard, that means if you import all products tourists need, you will not make a profit. If you produce some of the products your tourist means, you can make some money. So it's just not as profitable as before, but it still can make you a lot of money. That's something to point out, and I'm sure those are just numbers that will get continually tweaked. There were some changes to better, more efficiency of construction offices, that they will not send trucks out when you only have a small amount of resources available for wherever they want to take them from. So instead of sending your whole fleet out every time, only a couple trucks will go if there's a little bit, and then the other trucks can be used for something else. Pretty good. I like that change a lot. That doesn't work for cement and asphalt though, because the internal storages are so small that that logic just doesn't apply there. Again, there's a lot more small changes, but there's one big change which I left until right now. And you see these buses running around. We can now transfer people in a station. We do not have to build a second stop for that. How do we do that? I already did it here. And I would recommend using line settings for this. In your line settings, when you unload citizens, there's a new option. Force citizens to step out from this vehicle at this stop. Transfer point to other line. Simply means exactly what it says. Instead of just getting off and running somewhere from the station where they're dropped off, they will actually stay at this station specifically and not go anywhere. Does that mean they will no longer leave this station? Well, you still have the 1 hour waiting limit. So let's just grab a couple of these, see what they're doing. They're all getting off, and they're all in that station, and then the bus is obviously taking someone else. Waiting at the station for the next bus, wherever they go, and all of them are doing the same. Now, I'm pretty sure that if I had more buses, the next bus that gets you, even if it's the same line, will still take those same people back to where they came from. So you still have to manage that just a little bit, but this is really just a place for collecting all your citizens onto one station with a bunch of bus lines and then just having a train take them somewhere. This is an awesome change. I love it. It doesn't override the 1 hour wait limit, so don't forget that. Waiting on platform is still just up to an hour, and then they will go somewhere else where they can fulfill their need, whatever that is. But this transfer, I think, is a huge change for everything that's going on. You can still assign them to go to wherever you want them to go, but you don't have to. You can do a lot of cool different things now. But yes, that is, I think, all I have. I'm probably forgot something. Yeah, no, there are a lot of new features and a lot of new things that you can do now. I think a lot of these will change your gameplay a little bit. Please let me know what you think about the different features. Let me know what's your favorite. Let me know what's your worst. Let me know what I forgot. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.